All right, welcome everybody to today's office hours. The office hours topic of the day is ChatGPT and Realvolve. We're going to kind of hit a little bit of both, but want to make sure that everybody's in the right place here and knows where they're at, taking you to a destination of a known destination from a unknown origin sometimes. For those that don't know me, my name is Mark Stepp. I am the Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve. I kind of head up the product development engineering team, creator of the workflow platform and relationship scoring piece that everybody uses. Been in this business for 32 years, almost 33 years, and just really enjoy helping real estate agents understand the why in technology. So with me today, I have Kendra. Hey, Kendra, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I see a few of my clients on and a few of you I've worked with before, but if we haven't met yet, my name is Kendra Rouse. I work at our premium services department. Our entire goal is to make sure that you master the powers of Realvolve and everything that it can do for you. We work one-on-one with you. We provide you with a suite of workflows and customize them and help you implement them into your business. So, as we go along today, Mark and I are here really to get you familiar with ChatGPT, but also to answer any questions you have. So feel free to put those in chat as he's going along, and I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Awesome. So today's kind of agenda, we're going to go over some basic terms, kind of what the basics of ChatGPT is. And then I'm going to go into the OpenAI integration that we did with OpenAI and Realvolve. And we're going to go through some live examples. So just to kind of give you a heads up of that, we'll also talk about some helps, premium services, and a giveaway that we're going to give away at the end of this. So stick around, and I think you'll enjoy that. So unless you've been living under a rock, you should have at least heard of ChatGPT, and maybe you've not gotten the time to spend using it, but at least hopefully you will have been able to have heard about it. And what I want to do is kind of explain the basics of it first off. So OpenAI is the company. ChatGPT is one of their products. They actually are the creator of a large language model, which just means a bunch of data points of information that is used. But there are also other companies that are doing this. Google, Meta, there's 12 or 14 different ones that I use on a regular basis. What's happening is there is a war going on between the different providers. Now, the question is going to be who's going to come out the winner. And there may not be a winner. Maybe it's a place where everybody kind of fits in a certain role and they do certain things and they kind of coexist. But there is a war going on. You're going to hear a lot of things being introduced by one company or another. And at some point, there could be a winner. So what we want to do, though, is kind of get you to a point where you understand what some of the things are. So I'm going to talk about at least these kind of key terms. A prompt. A prompt is nothing more than the conversation that you're having with the AI itself. It's something you type in natural language. It's really nothing more than like if you're using Facebook, you're using Facebook Messenger or text messaging, you're talking to somebody normally. In this case, you're talking to an AI, an artificial intelligent software language. And at some point, once you type that in, that prompt, you're going to get a response. And the response is just like a response from a human, but in this case, it's generated by the AI. Now, the more accurate the prompt, the better the response. That's what you're going to learn. You can ask very generic prompts and get very generic responses. As you develop the skill of asking questions, re-asking questions, you're going to learn the skill, what's called prompt engineering, and learning how to accurately state so that you're understood and it it returns back the response that you're actually looking for. Many times, especially in the very beginning, you'll ask for something and it's really not what you want because you weren't as clear as you could have been or should have been. So being a prompt engineer is not exactly the same as being a software engineer or electrical, whatever. You actually have the skills to do it. It's just a matter of learning correct wording. It's really what it comes down to. So don't be afraid of anybody that says, anything about prompt engineering. It's just a matter of helping you understand that it's the proper wording to get a proper response. I will talk about seeding. Seeding is the process of filling data in your prompt so that it uses that data. Now, part of this, and let me go to the next one, which might make more sense. GPT, whenever we talk about ChatGPT, it's the chat part is obvious. You're just chatting with something, like I said, with messaging. The GPT part of it is generative pre-trained transformer. And it's just an acronym. Create things like sentences and stories is the generative part. The pre-trained is that it already knows a lot of information. It's gathered data points from, at least ChatGPT is got like 175 billion data points that it has brought in and utilizes for its learning process. The transformer part is what's so exciting, is it can take one thing and that it actually knows and put it into another thing. So whenever we say, translate this into this, it knows what this is, so it can translate into something else like Spanish or Japanese or whatever. So some really cool things that can be done. The problem with that generative piece is it can hallucinate. It can create the look and feel of something being very accurate and very true, but it be very false. So you've got to use the last item on here is discernment, the ability to judge well, understand what it's saying and make sure that it's accurate, because it's not always, I shouldn't say it's not always truthful. It hallucinates. It makes things up and it thinks it's true even. So be careful with that. Just a word of advice. So what is ChatGPT? It's the artificial intelligence that you're using and just interacting with a natural language. Now, if you have not already been there, I'd encourage you guys to go to chat.openai.com, open up an account. You can just create a login and actually start using it right away. Whenever you come into ChatGPT the very first time, it's going to look something like this, where on the left-hand side, you've got an area where you can put in or select from previous chats that you've had. You've got the ability to select some prompts that kind of get you started as examples. But basically, it comes down here to the prompt area. And there's a box down at the bottom where you can actually type in your prompt, your question, your statement, your request, whatever it is that you're wanting. And it then takes that prompt and generates a response. Easy enough, okay? Just like chatting with whatever. Now, whenever it creates this response, it will also create on the left-hand side a series of sessions that you've asked previously, and you can always go back to a previous session and continue on with that particular topic, whatever you're doing. So one of the things that I do want to make sure that you guys do is, if you're using ChatGPT by itself like this, and maybe you're using it for creating content for properties, use one session per property description. And that way, each time for an active property or whatever, that way you can go in, you can go back to that particular property and add more content or request more things about that property without having to reseed it with additional information. And whenever I talk about seeding, I'm talking like this up here where it says, create a property description for a 2-story home. I'm being specific on what it is I'm wanting it to give me back. I'm seeding it with certain information. 2-story home with 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, large family room, and it goes on. And I give it all the details. Now, I can ask it a very general question like create a property description, and it'll create one. But it won't be the one that you need with the right information that you need. So you seed it with the right information. So what I want to do now is actually take, instead of us spending all of our time in ChatGPT, I want to take you into what it can do for us within Realvolve. The main thing that ChatGPT does is it creates content and ideas for content. It will help you save time, money, and help you increase your efficiency. I mean, it's just very basic in what it can do. But one of the things that it does is as it's generating that content, it's going to spell it out. If you're doing it within ChatGPT, it will do it kind of one word at a time. If you're doing it within Realvolve, and I'm going to show this process here in a few minutes, you send the prompt and it will kind of wait a few seconds and then give you the response. We have heard people say the speed of which you're using in Realvolve is slower than what's in ChatGPT. I would really like for you guys to think about it this way. It's a little bit different. It's really a perceived speed, because as ChatGPT is giving its response, it's giving it kind of one word at a time, very slowly. By the time it finishes that, we will have in Realvolve have already returned back the entire content of it. So while the speed of getting the initial response is quicker in ChatGPT, getting the entire response is actually quicker within Realvolve in most cases. So what are we talking about? In Realvolve, whenever you go into our template editor, we now have this icon for AI for Realvolve, and it's the OpenAI icon. And whenever you click on that, it will then open up a new window that basically says, okay, enter your prompt, same as what is on ChatGPT. There's a generate button, and then there's a response area. So get used to those 3 main areas. You're going to type in your prompt, click generate, and return the response. At that point, you can do some things with it. I do want to call your attention to a couple other things that we've got on here. At the top, because we are integrated with Realvolve, we know that there are certain fields, especially for templates, that most agents will use almost on every one of them, and that's your greeting and your signature. So we've got some checkboxes up there for greeting and signature. We've also included a checkbox that says, whatever message is in there, I want you to include it as part of the prompt. And it's always included and referenced as message, okay? So what this means is I can ask it something about the message, to do something with the message, or rewrite the message, and then it'll return back a response of some sort and include the context of that message in the response. Once I have that response, I can make some changes if I want to here. And down at the bottom, I can choose to either add the message to the content as additional content or replace the entire message in its entirety. So those basic fields are available. Once you hit OK, then it actually does whatever action that you've specified to do with the response. That all makes sense so far? Okay. So as an example, and I showed this example in one of my other videos that I did, we have within Realvolve, we have our monthly newsletter. So for those that are subscribed to the monthly newsletter piece, you get this content on a monthly basis. It's installed into your library, and from there you can go in there and reword and do things with that template if you want. Most people don't; they'll just take it as it is and kind of send it. But I always encourage everybody to take a look at it, figure out, is there any kind of content in there that Maybe you would word a little bit different. Maybe you don't like the wording or whatever. But here's an example of our March newsletter where we had an area in here, just kind of a welcome type message, talking since it was March, the St. Pat's Day, everything's green, stuff like that. And spring, all that kind of stuff. But what you might want to do in this case is just highlight that message part. So you can highlight certain message parts, or you can just click into an area, put your cursor where you want some additional AI content placed, either way. And then you can press on the little icon for AI. Whenever you do that, it'll pop up and show you that same prompt box that I was asking for earlier, or describing earlier. And you'll see that it already has include message checked. Because you had highlighted the information in the newsletter, it thinks that you probably are going to want to use that message in the prompt part of it. So it's going to be checked on there. If you don't want to use it, you can uncheck it and it'll ignore it. In this case, I said, rewrite the message in the words of a leprechaun, just for having fun. And in which case, I then clicked on generate, and then it comes back and gives me a different response, but it's in the same context as the original message. So it used the message, rewrote it as if a leprechaun said it out loud. Okay, top of the morning to you. It's March, the month of luck and sunshine, and it goes on. So once you've got that content, if there's something you want to quickly change or whatever, you can. Maybe there's some extra stuff on there that it brought back that you don't want. You can wipe it out real quick. Because we had selected the text, we'll want to just do the add to message, and it's going to basically whatever was selected will be replaced. If it was using just at the cursor location, if you didn't have any text selected, it would go ahead and just insert it at that particular point and go on. You click on the OK button, and then boom, it throws it right in. It just puts it into place where you had selected that text. So it sounds, leprechaunish, if that's a word. So, that is one use of this. You can go in there, make changes very easily to content that you already have. You can also do the similar type of thing if you're doing SMS messages. Now, SMS messages are typically much smaller, shorter. They don't have a lot of formatting and stuff to them. So what we did is we put the icon down in the lower left corner. You click on that. Same type of process happens, and you can do stuff with it the same way. Now, this particular message, what I did was said on a scale, actually, let's go back here. On a scale of 0 to 100, now I typed this in, on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is very negative, 100 is very positive. What is the sentiment score of this message? Now, again, because I had content in here and clicked it, I didn't have to highlight it. If I do highlight it, it's going to do just a certain part of it. But if I don't have it highlighted and I do include the message, it takes the entire message as a whole and includes it. So whenever I click on generate, it comes back and says, hey, the sentiment score of this message, meaning if you guys don't know what sentiment is, it's how positive or negative or neutral is something. And I'm just putting a score to it is all I'm doing. And it's coming back and says, hey, you got a score of about an 80 in there. Now, I wouldn't want to replace that response at all. This is just information for me. I can use it for context in whatever I rewrite. So I might want to come back in here and say, okay, on that same scale, rewrite the message so that I have a score above 90. And don't tell me the score after it's generated. Now, I added that later after I did this one other time because I didn't have it at one point, and it came back, and then it included the score right underneath it, and it said it was a 95. By including, but don't tell me the score after generated, it just refrains from putting it into the message. So I can just click on the OK button, and it would replace it. So, very easily take your existing messages, make them better, make them more positive, make them more interactive. You can do lots of different things with this, and I'm going to show you some live examples of this here in just a few seconds. So once you hit OK, it puts in the information that you replace the entire message and puts it in there. Maybe if you are maybe you're at a contact record and you're sending a one-off email, we've got the same type of thing where you can click on the little icon and say, write a birthday message to Mark, who was born on this date, currently year, basically. So I did this because number one, it doesn't know when my birthday is. And number two is ChatGPT currently doesn't even know what year it is. It's just a large language model. So I needed to put that in so it could calculate its age, the person's age, in the event that it wanted to use the age for whatever reason. You don't have to do it. You can just say, write a birthday message to Mark, and it would, create a good birthday message. But it would be very unique. One of the unique things, and because it's transformative, the GPT part of this, is if you ask the exact same question that I ask, you're going to get a different response. It changes the message. It generates or transforms the generated message different ways each time because of that transformative part. And that's what's so exciting about this. It's not something that's being stored out there. It's actually being generated on the fly every time you use it. So if you don't like this message, click generate again, and it'll come up with something different. Generate again, it'll come up with something different. So each time it gives you something that you can possibly use. If you like it, then you can hit OK and go with it. If you need to make something shorter, say shorten the message to make it less than 160 characters. You can give it instructions, not just generate content, but give it instructions on what that content should look like. So in this case, it creates a message that's 160 characters or less.
And one thing I found too, Mark, is that, we have a different icon that may be in an email versus a text message, but ChatGPT doesn't necessarily know that we're inside of Realvolve's chat feature, right? Doesn't know that it's writing a text message. So sometimes I found if you say, write an email about this, write a text message about this, it will, shorten the verbiage for text and kind of write things in a different way if it knows specifically what it is that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Good point. Very good point. So one of our users I was talking with, and he was real excited about this because his potential, all of his clients speak Spanish, and a majority of the documents that are templates that we have out there are all in English. And he says it's really tough at times to go in there and create content for Spanish and having to reword everything. Now with this, you can go in and just say, translate the message to Spanish, and it'll go through and it'll create the entire thing. And then you can replace the message with whatever it is in Spanish. And just the excitement and the smile on his face was proof enough that we were on the right track on this particular feature. So really like the idea there. You might have other languages that might be in your area and certainly be able to create that. There's lots of languages that ChatGPT actually understands and knows and can utilize within the messaging itself. So let's go live. What I want to do, got some time here, is let me go. Now I'm in Realvolve here in the templates area. So I just went under the template section here, and let me just find a lead message here of some sort. Okay, so let's just go with this one. Thank you for your time, whatever. Okay, so where did I put it? One second here. I'm going to find one more piece of my puzzle that I should have had out. Okay. So what I want to do is use an existing template first off. We've got a message. It's part of, I'm not even sure which one this is, ELB. I think these are some Dave Beeson letters that we have within Realvolve that you can purchase. But here's a big message, and it's been written by somebody else some time ago, and maybe it's not exactly the way you would say it. Maybe you're not sure about some of the grammar, stuff like that. So what you can do is take this message, click on the little OpenAI icon, and I'm just going to paste this in here. Proofread the message, and again, because I had content in here already, I mean, all the message itself was already there. It knew that it should pre-check the include message part. Proofread the message and rewrite for grammar and spelling errors. And then I click on generate. Now it's going to take the content that's here, keeping the context of that content, and rewrite it, but make sure that the grammar's correct, stuff like that. And boom, there it is. Now, having done that here and trying to do it within ChatGPT, now I'm just going to do the exact same thing, but you can see, thank you for using my website. Thank you for taking the time to use my website. It changed some of the grammar on it, probably made it a little bit clearer, stuff like that. It checked for spelling. Now, because these are merge fields, it won't change merge fields. It does understand the concept of merge fields. It does leave the merge fields as they are. So nothing is taken away there. It's just the content outside of those merge fields, which is exciting for me, that it doesn't go through and mess up the content once it utilizes it. But it generates something. I can come over here and say, okay, replace the message, and then I can click on OK, and then boom, there it is. And it, is it worded better? Possibly. The grammar should be much better. ChatGPT, I know, is a lot better grammar than I do personally. But if you're an English major or something like that, then maybe it's not exactly the way you would put it. But one of the things that you can do is semi-train ChatGPT to talk in your voice. So some exciting possibilities there. So that's one thing. Maybe instead of just grammar checking, maybe we want to go in here and say, rewrite the message to improve the readability and clarity. So 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Didn't normally take it this long. Maybe totally rewording it, or there's a problem. No, there it goes. That took a long time. That did take a long time. So the prompt could very well determine, because of readability and clarity, trying to understand what it has to do versus generating something brand new can also make a difference. But so that probably took 25 seconds. So that's not that great. But what I want to do is I'm going to take this just for grins. Take this and start a new chat. And we're going to paste that in with our exact same message at the top here. So what I'm doing here is rewrite the message, and I'm going to say message below.
And while you're doing that too, Mark, the other thing you have to think about too is the time that it would take you to open up ChatGPT and then to copy that message and then format this in the way, those two things aren't really comparable in the time saving.
Yeah, that's a good point too. So press enter. You'll see that it's going through and it's saying it word by word. And sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's faster. But, overall, by the time that it takes to complete this, normally it's in the 8 to 9 seconds in Realvolve. It's normally, what I've seen is in the 10 to 11 seconds in ChatGPT. So, but by the time you add the paste, the reformatting, stuff like that, Kendra's right there. It takes about the same amount of time, but we don't get the response back until it's fully complete, where here it's doing it kind of one word at a time. And I've been told that that's just an illusion. It actually knows the answer quicker, but I can't be confident in that answer. Anyway, so just kind of showing you there that, there is comparable time. That wasn't a great example, but it's more than likely going to be very comparable, if not better within Realvolve. So readability, clarity's in there. Maybe we want to change it. Maybe just the tone of the message is not really where you want it to be. So you can say rewrite the message to make the tone more professional or friendly or helpful. So if I just say professional, so then it'll go through and it'll rewrite and make the tone of the message more professional. There's any number of adjectives that you can use in there that give you that the type of tone that you want in the message itself. So, fairly quickly there to get that entire thing. And, thank you for using my website. My name is, it's much more professional. It's not the way I would word it, but definitely there. I clicked on insert there, so instead of overwrite. So one thing that I want to, and this kind of comes down to the prompt engineering piece. I'm going to leave this the way it is. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put in this. Is there a particular style of language we should use for using an email to a vendor? Now, you're asking a question. You're not saying rewrite the message. You're just asking it for an interpretation or some information. And it'll give you that interpretation, plus it'll probably give you a rewritten message. So I'm going to go ahead and click on generate there. It'll start taking the context text of it and give you some stuff back. Now, in this case, it didn't even give me an example, but it's just saying, as a large language model AI, this is the advice I would give you if you're talking to a vendor. So it's actually giving you advice. You want to make it make a good impression. So let's just take this information and say rewrite the message to, and then paste it in to make a good impression, whatever. So now I'm giving it a much deeper understanding of what I want based off of its own interpretation of what a vendor should get. So I click on generate and it goes through and we'll start generating the response. Give it a few seconds. And one thing that I do want to note is the longer it takes, in reality, the better the content you're going to get, because it's actually having to think and interpret what you're asking and make sure that it's the quality that you want. The quicker the message, probably the less specific you were on whatever it is. So, in this case, hope you find hope this message finds you doing well and goes through the entire process. I want to go here, replace the message, and sees the entire thing. So just a way to use that. Now, maybe you've got this message. Actually, I'm going to refresh this, go back to the original message of this so that, okay, so this is a buyer lead response number 1, homes for sale in your area, and then gives you all that information. Now, you can go in there, create a new message, put it in there. But to me, one thing that stands out is that subject is horrible. It really is horrible. So what you can do is come up here and just say, can you suggest a catchy subject line for the message? Now, in this case, it comes back and with a response, don't miss out on your dream home, new listings just for you. That's not bad. Generate it again. New property listing just for you. Get updates for extravagant. My eyes are getting too bad here. Extravaganza city homes. Well, that's interesting. Find the dream homes just for you. So, you find what it is. In this case, I don't want to do either adding the message or replacing the message. What I would want to do in this particular case is just highlight the message, hit cancel, come up here and paste it in. My plan is to add an option to put it in as a subject. It's not there yet, but just to let you know that you'll, in some cases like this, you don't want to just paste it into the message area. You'll use it within other areas. So something to think about. Any questions? I know I'm hitting you guys with a lot.
One of the things, have we talked about how they set it up, Mark?
So to set up ChatGPT integration with Realvolve, one of the things you have to do is you come in under settings, go into integrations, and then scroll down to the OpenAI API key in this case. We need an OpenAI API key in here. The way you get that is once you've opened up a ChatGPT account, you can go to this platform.openai.com account API key and just click on that, and it will bring you to a place where you can see and generate keys. Now, I've got 4 keys already generated. It only shows a portion of it because it's private. You don't want to share these keys with anybody. And I'm just going to create a burner one here so that I can show you how to do it, and then I'll get rid of it. But you click on create a new key. It's going to give you that key, and you just click on copy. So now it's in my clipboard, and I hit OK. Once I hit OK, I can't get to it again. It's put in here, and it'll say it's never been used, and it only gives you a portion of it. You can't do anything with it. Come back over here into Realvolve, paste that in. Once it's pasted in, then you're good to go. It saves automatically, and you can utilize it. So simply going into the integrations, OpenAI, put that in. At that point, then you can go into your templates, go into your one-off emails, SMS, whatever it is that you want to do. Click on the OpenAI icon and be able to do the things that you want to do. That clears mud? Hope so. All right. Rewrite the message to clear. So here's one. Now, of course, this is for an SMS, which may not be exactly, but we can do the same type of thing. Rewrite the message to include a clear and concise call to action. So many times I see emails going out and it's got basic information, but there's no call to action at all. You guys need to make sure that you're putting some kind of call to action, especially in lead gen type stuff, and make sure that it's clear and concise. Click on generate and it'll go through and make a message. Now in this case, it's probably going to be longer. It doesn't know that it's an SMS in this case, but hope this finds you well. Love to hear your thoughts and ideas. That's asking for some kind of action from them, making sure that that's in there, and it puts it into the message and makes it good. So that's something. Make sure that, what can we do to have the call to action more compelling for a lead? Can you suggest ways to phrase a call to action to be more motivational, inspirational, or, just all kinds of different things that you can use? What I want to do now is, no matter where you're using within Realvolve, the same type of prompt comes up. So once you learn it in one place, you've got it in another. If you go into a contact record, let's say we go here. Let me put in, I'll just use my email on this one. Whenever you click on the email piece to do a one-off email, you can still do the ChatGPT icon right here. It does the same thing. Even if you're creating a PDF, so if you're loading up information for some kind of printable type content, a letter of some sort that you're going to send, and it's going to be content for, actually it needs to be new, some kind of content, happy anniversary, whatever. Same type of thing. You can go in there, and even the print content, not just emails and SMS, but if you're doing PDFs, you can do the same thing. SMS, I don't have an SMS number in here. Something in there. Now I can go in here, type an SMS, and the same icon is available here. Same fields, same content. You just type in your prompt and hit OK and go. So that's the integration right now for Realvolve. We've got some more exciting things yet to come. So I'm really excited about that. If you want to do things outside of the content within ChatGPT itself, you might do something like this. I'm just going to create a new chat. Now, they have a problem right now where their history is not showing up. So all my previous ones aren't showing up, but I can create new ones. Also, I do have a paid version of ChatGPT. There is the free version you can use. At least free for now. I don't know if they'll change that and always make it free. There's some limits to what you can do. Within the paid version, we're not as limited to some of the restrictions that the free version is. We're also guaranteed access, unless there's some extreme circumstances where they'll give us special logins. But also, now that ChatGPT uses GPT-4, which is the newest version of their large language model, the plus version is currently using that, where the free version is not. So just to let you know. Now, honestly, the 3.5 is faster, and it gives you the same type of content that you really need and want. The only time that you're going to really want to use GPT-4, at least right now, is if you're doing something extremely complex and it needs to use a lot of AI reasoning, mathematics, being very concise in something. If you're just creating content, you're really better off using 3.5, which is what Realvolve is currently using. We're going to incorporate 4 once they make the API available for everybody. But the speed of it is extremely slow compared to 3.5, plus the expense of it. Now, one of the things that you've got to understand is whenever you put in that API key within the settings, it's using your own account, and you get a free account, but there's a certain amount of free credit that you get. After that free credit is up, then you need to put in a credit card, and it costs like 0.002 cents per 1,000 tokens, which is about 750 words. A lot of technical jargon there, but if you're creating a lot of content, in the 3.5, it really won't cost you much. Maybe a few cents, 25 cents, 30 cents, stuff like that. If you're doing it within GPT-4, it can cost you dollars. Just be aware of that, okay? So be very aware. But maybe we want to do something like this. So you're wanting to create a workflow of some sort, and you don't want to go out and pay for a premium workflow from somebody else. Maybe you want to create 10 topics for an email series to potential first-time homebuyers, explaining why having me as their realtor would be beneficial. So I'm giving it a question there. So sure, hey, here's some topics. And it goes through and it starts spitting out each of the topics. An introduction, why a realtor is essential to first-time homebuyers, experience, access to off-market properties. It just goes through the entire thing. Now you can say, create a schedule for these messages over the next 2 weeks.
And one of the things I think is super awesome about ChatGPT is when those 10 topics came up, let's say I like 5 of the 6 out of them, their answers aren't finite. So if you ask that same question again, you could potentially pick and choose from different answers that it's getting you to really get a customizer exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. You might say, I don't like number 9, replace number 9 with something else. Something like that, and it'll go through. So here, day 1, send this. Day 3, day 5, day 7, it goes through for 2 weeks. Now what we can do is say, create the email content for each of these items. Email 1, there's the subject, dear. Oh, but hang on for a second. Hang on. I'm going to click on. I clicked on stop. I didn't want it to generate the whole thing. What I can do is, if something isn't correct and I need to change it, I can come back here and click on the edit button to edit that same message, or I can type in something new. But I can come up here in each of these messages using reading and signature for the merge fields. Those are the Realvolve merge fields for greeting and signature. So now it comes back and it generates it, and now it has the correct merge field for the greeting, and then at the bottom it'll have the correct signature merge field. So there's a message for day 1. Here comes day 3. And so on. Now all you got to do is take this, copy and paste it right into the templates and set up the workflow for the items. Now, I'm working towards making that happen within Realvolve automatically as well. It's not there yet, but that's something that is being looked at and being addressed right now. So some exciting things there. Now, if you are doing it in ChatGPT, and it's going to come through here, because ChatGPT has a limit to the amount of information, it'll stop at some point. Actually, it just did. Once it stops, it didn't finish everything. If it stops in the middle of a process like this, just type in continue. It'll continue from where it left off. And then whenever you're copying and pasting it, make sure you remove the continue from the text that you've copied. How cool is that, guys? That just frees up all your time, your creative time, so that now you can be spending that time nurturing, contacting, phone calls, the things that only you can do. And you don't have to spend all your creative juices doing the creative part. And it's good content. Now, again, going back to that one word that I warned you about at the very beginning, discernment, read each one of them. Make sure it says what you want it to say. Make sure the wording is the way you would want to say it. If it's not, make the changes, obviously, but don't just blatantly take everything as it is and send it out. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we wanted to share today. Any other questions in what we just covered? Either I covered it really well or I blew everybody out of the water. I'm not sure which one it is. If you would tell me in your chat if this was helpful or not. And actually, on that same scale of 0 to 10, where do you think you now end up? Lindy says, I'm brainstorming ideas now. Absolutely. Jenny, up to an 8. Yay. Yes, 8. So you went from a 5 to an 8. Awesome. I did my job well, I guess. Nice. So, there's going to be lots more coming down the pipe. Keep your eyes open on the progress. Now, understand that what I just showed you, while I showed it to you in ChatGPT, as we were talking about earlier, all of these different providers out here are going to have something very similar. There may be one that comes out that you like better. Use it however you feel fit, and use the one that you like the best. Right now, it's OpenAI because they've got the integration capabilities that we needed. We'll probably add the Google and Meta and whatever other ones are available down the road as well, and give you guys some options. But for the most part, that's that. So, Kendra, can you go through this part? My voice is about to give out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so again, my name is Kendra, and I'm our Premium Services Department. My entire job is to make sure that your lives are easier. So within our Premium Services Department, what we do specifically, let's take the example of what Mark just did. And we had the AI write out that outline. We really deep dive and see exactly what it is that works best for you in your market and implement an entire suite of workflows that works for you. So in addition to, we want to go today and make sure that you have access to additional support, and then my contact information if you have any questions on any additional services, if you want to work one-on-one with somebody to get your processes and systems set up. My email is kendra@realvolve.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Additionally, if you go inside of your Realvolve account, you'll notice at the bottom that there is a help button. That help button will essentially take you to a search feature that allows you to type in, search help articles, previous Q&As, and get additional help there. Our How Do I button will allow you to type in a question and, for instance, set up a signature, and it will walk you through step by step on what to do and how to do it. We have a chat feature. If you click contact us here, if our chat reps are available, you can speak to them. And also, if you notice something inside of your system not quite working right, you want to click on submit a support ticket. We want to make sure that you guys have everything that you need or as successful as possible. So one of the things that we want to do is have a giveaway for you being on the call today. And if you are interested in our premium services, you go ahead and email me. I'm happy to provide you with information. There is a 25% discount for being on today's webinar. In addition, anybody that puts their email in the chat, we're going to get you a copy of our 10-year of contact nurture. Essentially what that workflow does, and this is based on one of the core things that you should be doing, however it is set up for you specifically, but you want to maintain established relationships. So the entire purpose of that workflow is to make sure that you have periodic phone calls, text, reminders to make sure that that person doesn't fall through the cracks. You're celebrating birthdays if you have them, and you're celebrating home purchase and home anniversaries if they're in the system. One of the things that I think is great about ChatGPT is for those things that can become monotonous. So if you have a happy birthday template, you don't want to send that same person, the same thing you did last year, probably. So ChatGPT can just take that same kind of tell somebody happy birthday or tell them happy home purchase anniversary and put a twist on it so that you're sending customized and creative content to each client that doesn't look cookie cutter. And I think that's amazing for that. So again, if you put your email inside of the chat, we'll make sure that you have that downloaded in your account for you. And then additionally, I'm going to put together kind of some of the prompts and things that we talked about that would help you put or create or change content in your text and emails that would help you use ChatGPT and some suggestions on how you can use that in Realvolve. Some of those prompts so you guys can get in there, get your hands on ChatGPT and start playing around with it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, we are 1 minute over. Sorry about that. I'll ask for any last questions, if anybody has any additional questions real quick. Otherwise, if you need to head to your next appointment, make way there. I'll stick around for just a little bit.
Lindy's asking about, she wasn't unable to save the API key inside of Realvolve. I'll save Mark's voice. So, the only time I've seen that is if your API key is not correct. I would try maybe regenerating another code or verifying that the code that you pasted in there is accurate. Anything else on that, Mark?
It does. Yeah, it does check. It does check the validity of that API key whenever it is entered before it saves it. So quite possibly, let me mute her real quick. Quite possibly the code itself was good, but you may not have gotten the credit that for the free version. You may not get, there's like $18 that they've been giving for like 3 months or something like that. And possibly you didn't get that. There's a process you kind of go through giving your email and confirming it. And then it gives you like $18 credit, I think. So quite possibly it's just didn't have the credit and you'd have to put in a credit card in that case. But again, using the version that we've got is, fractions of a cent for the content. For the last 3 months, I think I've only spent like $3.50 on mine. So crazy.
Yeah, likewise. And I ask it a lot of things. It does not know winning lottery tickets, in case anyone was curious.
I did try that and it didn't help. I said, if you could give me the winning lottery tickets, what would they be? It gave me some numbers, but it didn't work. I'm still at work here, guys.
Cheryl's asking where we post the recordings of these calls.
I do put them in once it's saved. We put them in our YouTube channel. I'll also put a link to it from our Facebook.
Yeah. And again, questions may come in the future. My email is Kendra at realvolve.com. If there's anything I can help you guys with, reach out. And we have your email addresses for anybody on the call today, and we'll get those things we promised to you.
Yeah. Cheryl, the start time is 10 o'clock Central Time on Wednesdays. We do that every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central, whatever time zone you're in, adjust appropriately. Okay, I've got the emails. Thank you guys for everything. Oh, daylight savings time screwed you up and you're in Pacific. Yeah, so it's going to be 8 o'clock your time, I believe, unless you're in Arizona, which I don't know. You guys, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And
yeah.
I still have a problem figuring that. So anyway.
Yeah, and Craig brings up a good point. He'll be here next week. We look forward to seeing you, Craig. But we'll be talking about transaction to close processes. So no shortage of things to dig in with there. That should be one of the cores of your business. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.